Hello.
Ah, hey,
How you
how
doing?
are you, Steve? I
I'm
am
good.
great. I am doing very, very well. I'm doing very, very well. Good to see you. My lighting is off. Give me a second. Let me get the light together.
Yeah, okay. That's good.
Yes. There we go. Ah, there we go. And there we go. All right. And now I turn my do not disturb on. And I am ready. There we go. All right. Hi, how are you?
I'm
Yeah, no, I think now you can see me
yeah,
much better. Yeah.
definitely.
Welcome, welcome. I'm so happy that you have decided to do the interview with me today. And I know I thought you were in Philadelphia, but you are in Boston.
Correct.
Correct. Okay, well, welcome to the Nearly Go Around podcast. This is usually an audio podcast,
Okay.
so but we sometimes we give a bonus by providing the audio, depending on the quality and so on and so forth. But I was so happy that you decided. I play tennis. I have my tennis rackets with me here, and you can see me with my rackets.
Nice.
And now I was yes, this is the head Wilson. I don't know if you're familiar with this racket. This is one of my rackets that I use, and this is the other one. You can see how beaten up they are.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, you can. But today I want to talk with you about. I want to get to know you a little bit and get to know some more information about Tennis Philly and the Tennis League Network. I don't know if I
Mm.
might. I don't think I might be saying it correctly, but I want to know some more about that and your involvement. But first, welcome to the Nearly Go Around podcast. We are 70. We are 1 year old this week, and we are doing quite a number of shows. But I live in Philadelphia, and we're connected to what's going on in the cities and in Philadelphia and so on and so forth. But how is your day going, and what is your connection to Tennis Philly?
All right.
All right.
So today for me, it's a big kickoff day. I'm kicking off doubles leagues in quite a few cities. So kicking off doubles leagues in New York City, Denver, Seattle, and then several doubles leagues in like Baltimore. It didn't get kicked off, and so those people will get their money back. The connection with Tennis Philly, has been a pretty strong singles league, singles flex league, in your city for about 16 years now. And the main product is to connect people of like skill level in a division to go off and play. And so for 16 years, Tennis Philly was the third location that was started. It was first Boston, then DC, and then Philadelphia. It has done well over the years. You have a lot of players who absolutely love meeting up with other people of their like skill level, of new potential friends, as men, we like to compete. So it's a good platform to allow them to have an outlet to compete, but compete fairly.
Okay, I see that you guys are celebrating 17 years. Is it Philly or is it the Tennis League Network?
Tennis League Network. So the staff that I have back here, we actually manage all the cities. So there's approximately 50 cities in the whole program, and 17 years ago started in Boston, and then 16 years ago we started in DC and Philadelphia. Been doing this for a while.
Okay, and I know that you play some tennis yourself, and I was looking at your pages and I saw that you were play. You're a competitor yourself. You are ranked high in the league.
Well, it looks like I've played 1,239 matches over the last 17 years. So
that's a lot of games, and you're a young man.
Well, my body's still mostly together, which is pretty good. I actually am not the most active player in my league anymore. There's a couple players out in Los Angeles who have pristine tennis weather. They are able to play 12 months a year. They passed me, and they're not looking back. So.
Okay, and so what's your ranking? I think you have some kind of ranking. I think I saw it. You're ranked number 2 now. Somebody's number 1 now.
I'm only a 3-5 level player. That's all I am. I'm just a 3-5 level player who loves to get out there and loves to hit hard, but sometimes makes way too many errors.
And for persons who don't know this 3-part, I know tennis follows a rating to 2.0, 2.5, 3.0, 3.5, 4.0. I used to be a 4.5. I don't know if I'm 4.5 anymore. I'm 43 years old, but I got better. And then probably as I get older, you get not as powerful. But I'm a 4.5 sometimes, and on a bad day, I'm a 3.5, 3.7.
Yeah.
But So tell me, I know you're ranked. So you said when I asked about your rating, tell me a little bit about rates for people who don't understand tennis. What's this rating? If somebody asks you what's your rating, what's that about? It's 3.5.
Okay, so I'll always give it in reference to my program, this program that's being run. And a lot of people who find the various local leagues are a little bit new to tennis. Not all of them, there's some 4 or 5 level players that come on board and know how things are run. And if the city that is running is big enough, they'll have a community that they can connect with. But a lot of new players, every new player who hasn't played competitive matches, they think they're a 4-0. There's a lot of 4-0 players.
You're right.
Who once they start to play real points, they come to realize that those errors they were making actually matters, and they're not 4-0s.
Yeah, right. You're right.
Especially when you get into a competitive match where you're like, well, I'm trying to beat you, you're trying to beat me, and like say, I know your weakness is soft balls to your backhand. Well, you're going to get a lot of soft balls to your backhand, and so it changes the dynamics a lot in a roundabout way. But the best reference, a 3-0, a 2-5/3-0 player, you're in the lowest level in all the cities. You're someone who you can start the point with the serve. You have the backhand, you have the forehand, but you have no consistency. You're making a lot of errors. And then I actually, in most of the cities, I run a 3-2-5 league, which is not run in USTA. The 3-2-5 league works out really, really good for the bigger programs, because it allows the players who are slightly better than the 3-0s to have a new division, and the players who are not 3-5 to mingle in. And in a lot of cities, my 3-2-5 league is kind of the biggest division. So, and then 3-5 is typically a player who maybe has a big serve. Maybe doesn't hit the first serve all the time. Their backhand's consistent, not all about making errors, and maybe they're just not perfecting. The difference between a 3-5 and a 4-0 player is typically errors. A 3-5 player will make more errors than a 4-0. Now 4-0s, your game's dialed in. You probably have the ability to serve and volley when you want.
Right.
You probably have the ability you're going to hold your serve a lot more,
Yes.
And then it's 4-0's fun, but you have to, not everyone's a 4-0, just as simple as that.
That is true. You're right. You're right. And my next question is, how did you what's the relationship between the Tennis League Network and Tennis Philly? And did they start synonymously? Because I know that they're in various cities.
So Tennis Philly is just a doing business as Tennis League Network, meaning it's a subunit of the overall the network. So with that, it's basically just another entity, a community of players that we're connecting through the system.
Yes, and I know this season is one of your biggest seasons. There's a league there's a tournament that started July 20th. That goes. Is that the summer league that you have starting this?
Yeah, I'm looking now. So yeah, so in 6 days, so the main program is that singles flex league, which
Right.
is connecting, players to play singles matches against each other. Yeah, that next one's going to start in 6 days. And in Philadelphia, we're mainly just running the singles flex league.
Yeah.
Doubles enrollment just never picked up. So that happens.
Yes, yes, and how popular is this flex league? I've played in the flex league before as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't I played in the flex league, but I'm very busy, so I didn't go too far because I missed some of my matches, and then I think last year I suffered a major injury, so I played one match and didn't play anymore. But I plan to play this year. But so how is it going to? What's the response rate and so on as it relates to the flex league?
Yeah, so I'm looking at the numbers and averaging about 125 players per season.
Oh, nice. That's good.
Looking at the numbers, it looks like it's pretty steady. Even last year, we're averaging about 125.
Okay.
Actually, last fall was 168. So last fall was pretty large. So a decent number at that level, at that number of players, I can run a 4-5 league, a 4-0 league, a 3-5 league, a 3-2-5 league, a 3-0 league, and that's all men's. And then typically run two levels of women's, a 3-5 and a 3-0 for women.
Okay, and you are doing a league you do a league in Boston, in New York, in LA, and I think I've also played in the league in New York as well. You have, as you said, New York, LA, major cities. Is there a particular reason why you're in some of these major cities?
Well, the product has a niche. People like the product. So it's very simple. If people like the product and they sign up and they participate, then in the world of tennis, you have several different major services. USTA is one service.
Yes, and thank you. I was going to ask you that. Yes.
Yes,
So
and there's a couple smaller segments. There's usually a local league that's there that year. So in a lot of cities, doubles is the main way to play. And so being mainly a singles flex league, that's the niche. It's different.
Yes. Okay, that's good. And and I did ask you in terms of sports, what's going on in tennis in terms of the US, and how does your program, how does that support the development of tennis?
Okay. So we had this annoying little thing called COVID that came around.
Yeah.
And it's this virus, which is not nice. And a lot of people have had to change their lives based on it. And it actually, in a roundabout way, in a weird way, it actually helped tennis out dramatically.
Okay.
Before COVID, tennis you could almost consider it was slightly a dying sport. And what I mean by that is participation had been steadily going down for 20 plus years. You can almost say back to the McEnroe and Connors and Sampras days and Agassi days. That was kind of the high point of tennis. And then with COVID coming around and people not be able to play soccer leagues and basketball leagues and all these closer contact leagues. You had a lot of people say, well, I can play tennis. I'm on either side of the net. We're further away. And so tennis in America has really, really grown dramatically since COVID. And in all racket sports, actually. Pickleball is now in a lot of locations, pickleball is legit. It's So how does it help U.S. tennis? You have a lot of people now that have come back to the sport. A lot of people who maybe played it in high school and maybe played a little bit in college and played it as a kid, but then put it away for all these years, and now they've come back. And I've had lots of players write the most wonderful thing, saying, "I'm so happy I came back to tennis."
Yes.
This sport is excellent, and it's a great sport, especially that as you get older, playing basketball, your ankles or knees, or
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
pulling fingers, and so luckily with tennis, yeah, I mean, our skills have gone down a bit, but
Yes.
we can still play well. Just cross train a little bit more, and play a couple more matches, and you can get out there and play well. So it's a tremendous sport, and I'm happy that Tata with you.
And you get to meet so many different people, get to connect with different people. And yes, I actually play, sometimes I go by Albury in Germantown, and there's a 78-year-old gentleman that plays. And I am just amazed that he practices his serve every morning, and it's quite powerful.
Yes.
And I just talk about basketball. So I was trying to actually do this broadcast or this podcast at the basketball court, which is at the top of my block here in Germantown. I live in Germantown, and there is a park, and they have a huge park, beautiful park. And one great thing about Philadelphia, and especially Germantown, is parks are everywhere. But some of the communities only have basketball courts. And so I go to the basketball court and with my racket, and I play, and I hit on the wall. Yeah. And so, but I noticed that when I play, the kids, they come and they look, and I live where I live it's a mixed demographics. But I noticed that, and I play at the basketball court. I hit on the back. Maybe it's an abuse using tennis. I go onto the basketball court and I hit on the wall. But people, the boys that play, go to the next side, and then they would stop and watch. And then I realized this is doing something for basketball, because, for tennis too. The young people are coming, the parents are coming, the children are coming. Say, hey, whoa, you play tennis? That's interesting. African Americans play tennis? I said, yes, we do. So, but I realized that as they come, as they watch me play, so what I start doing now, they become so interested. So I bring extra rackets, so I keep giving them rackets. Now I only have about 4 rackets in my arsenal. But people are, so as a way, I'm exposing tennis. So sometimes I really go to the tennis court, but I deliberately go to the basketball court by the park to hit, so that to expose people to tennis, and I give out rackets.
But I mean, on the same note, if you look at Serena and Venus,
yeah,
and if people can open their eyes, that they've really helped in Arthur Ashe, obviously, but they helped to show people that you don't have to be any one ethnicity to play the sport.
Yeah.
It's a very athletic sport, so that actually should be fun for anyone, because of the fact of it's just what you need to do sometimes to win the point.
Yes, and look at people like what's his name again that just played against. He brings basketball to the sport. Kyrgios, in a sense, brings basketball to the. But so I was going to ask you that question in terms of the demographics, in terms of what is the response rate, in terms of, do you find a lot of African Americans and Latinos getting involved in the sport and playing and so on? What's their activity or response rate with the program and so on? So
I can only guess, because I don't ask players what their ethnicity, but you can see with naming conventions and everything. There is a lot of people from India, a lot of Indians, a lot of Southeast Asians who like to play tennis. There is, listen, in each city, there is more than enough African Americans that are participating in the program. And when I run a national championship in Miami, and players come in from all over the country for that. And I see the cross section of the players coming in. So tennis, I guess there is maybe a general idea that it's maybe a more affluent sport, but it's not really. You need sneakers, a racket, and some balls. It's and you need a town or a city that actually has enough viable good courts. Not every city is keeping up the tennis courts all that great. So that matters.
Yeah, that is true. And the rackets are, you can go to Walmart and get a $10 racket, or you can get a $250 racket like this one, which actually I gave away some of them, but
You did.
but yes, I've been giving away my rackets, and I'm going to be starting a program where I invite people to give me their own rackets, and then I go to these neighborhoods and I give tennis rackets away for free to these and balls. And in a sense, the parents come back to me and say, "Hey, now they are interested in tennis, you know." But
So maybe I'm going to ship you a couple of rackets. I'm going to get your address and ship you a couple of rackets. Okay.
Yes. Thank you. And I will let you know my address, and that would be great. That would be great. Thank you so much. And a couple more questions, three more. How did you get started with this? Because this is amazing. You are in all these cities, and you know that you have a lot of persons who have participated in tennis. The program is good. I mean, we had COVID, which affected the program, but you're reaching a lot of people. I've gotten persons to sign up for your program as well. I mean, how did you start, and how difficult was it? And what were some of your challenges, and how were you able to, have the kind of success you're having now?
So there's twofold. One, inherently, I liked to compete, and
Yes.
and so tennis was after I was a baseball, then basketball, and then tennis. So it was just a really good sport to get out, and have a good time, and shake the guy's hand and play to compete. So also had an upbringing or a technical background where I was in software engineering, and through a Boston program came the idea that what we were doing there, if I brought it to the internet, it had a potential chance to do something. So the 17 years ago, being a younger guy, he just went off and hustled and tried to talk to everyone and go to all the locations, including all the tennis clubs, and say, hey, I got this great program. If your players get into it, we're gonna, we can get, the tennis club court revenue, and then we can get players out in the courts playing matches. So, at that point in time, I guess you had the opportunity where, I was willing to put a lot of the extra work in, and it was, in the early years, like any small business, the beginning's hard. It's not easy. Who's going to join some website and they're claiming that they're going to connect you and you can play tennis on it. And so, also that would be 2004. So, a little bit, our internet's been around by a while since that time, but it was still kind of like, what do you trust?
Right.
So, the second year is when I went to open up Washington and DC. I had noticed some success in Boston actually getting things together. And so once again, be a younger gentleman with a lot of energy. And I went to Washington, DC, and I went to Philadelphia, and a lot of the same things I did in Boston, I did there, and I did it multiple times. I remember the first year I probably flew into DC at least 4 times. And then I definitely flew into Philadelphia a couple times. And so, what happens, now you have 17 years later, there's a bit of credibility that's been there. There's a bit of longevity that if you look at the websites, you can see that it's an active community. So
definitely.
It was a lot of work. And now it's
Did you start by yourself, or did you have a team of people that you started with?
Yeah, so in the 17 years, things have changed dramatically over the years. Yeah, when it was first started, there was actually a couple people that I'm still best friends with that were on board, that were doing various aspects of it. Had hired a couple people more local to do more local stuff, and have always had a steady stream of different people helping with the website and everything. So, in the end, as the years move on, a lot of people were paid off, and the business now is more streamlined. And it was it's not a humongous human intervention program, but
Yes.
it doesn't it doesn't run by itself. So I'll tell you that much.
Yes, and yeah, and you have all these other places that you guys have to be managing and running, and you have different people in these areas that you have administering the games, the programs, and the programs of the tennis league.
So more often than not, we have local players who love the program, who want to help grow the program, and so we really work with a lot of these players to help spread the word and grow the program that way. We don't really need administrators who are going to run the various programs in the various cities. That can be done at the Boston office. So yeah, we have a lot of people who really love this program, who have just been playing for years and years and years, and they know if they get more people in the program, then they get more people to play, and
Yes,
that's a win-win.
That is true. That is true. And I know, I'm one of those persons I actually got somebody in the program who is more active than I am, and who keeps,
Exactly.
and he met very well. But and this is one of the beauties about this program, man, because I brought some person when I heard about your program. I learned about people who wanted to play, so he registered for your program. He plays in all the tournaments. So
Who is he?
His name is Alvin Tribble. Yes, and he plays in Tennis Philly area. They're African American young gentleman, and I think
how do you spell his last name?
Tribble, Tribble.
Okay.
Yes, he plays in the tour. I think he's registered. I think he played in the last one that you had. He just played actually in the Flex League.
Okay.
But I went far. I think he played in the 3.0 or 2.7. Did you have a 3.75 at one time?
Yeah, so the 375 comes and goes based on how big the enrollment is.
Yes. And I played in the 3.75 last year, just one game, I think. So, but it was really good. So, but next question I wanted to ask you is, what was your motivation? And because you said you played various different sports, but you settled in tennis. And what's your motivation? What inspired you? What moves you? I know you said you were young when you started, but how you're 17 years in the making. What is it that drives you? What motivated you in the first place? And what so that other persons who might be so inspired by what you're doing? Let us into your motivation.
So, over the years, there's been a lot of people who have come back and written stories about their experience in the program. And some of these stories are excellent, are unbelievable. I remember back in the day, there was a gentleman who basically lost 150 pounds through the league. So he basically used it as a means to really get himself in a lot better shape and shred off a lot of weight.
Yes.
You have various people, a lot of people who have said that a lot of people who said they've met new friends and a lot of people who've come back and said, I found to love the sport again. I used to love it as a kid and I love it again. So in the end, I think one of the things going on in our society right now is we've had a definitely breakdown of community, and in a little bit of way, I think the various leagues become little communities, and so that's what we need a lot more of moving forward. And so in the end, that's the main motivation. Being a small business owner, it's great. The thing's big enough now that it's, basically I can do it full time and it's fine. So, but knowing that you're giving a lot of people a release, an out of the competitive instincts, the, meeting new potential friends and like that, that's kind of the biggest thing.
Wow. That is, what you just said was quite powerful, man. You said there is a breakdown in community and the league provides that community. And you are so right. An outlet and for people to come together, and also an opportunity for people to vent and so on and so forth. But this is really good. That was a very profound statement that you've made. It really brings people together.
Yeah. And I'll give you one example. The LA players, I'm jealous of them because they have a rain day and they complain.
Yes.
Like, oh, it rained today. I'm like, do you understand what the rest of the country puts up with? We put up with 45-degree days. We put up with heavy winds, and actually every once in a while in LA they'll have heavy winds, but there's a couple divisions in LA where like the average player will play like 14 or 15 matches in the season. The average player. So these people are meeting up at such a high level, such a huge amount of times that they all know each other very, very well, and they all just spend long-standing friendships and long-standing competitive relationships. So that's definitely the best place in this country to play tennis if you can deal with the traffic and you deal with the and go into the locations. But it's awesome.
And do you have a junior program as well? I know you have the community, but there's no junior program or any kind of and what about lessons? Do you provide lessons and so on and so forth? Tennis lessons for people?
With lessons, I have a partner. The partner is mytennislessons.com. And Andrew Marcus over there is the CEO of the business, and his team is doing a tremendous job getting players connected with instructors. I stay out of lessons because of the fact it becomes too people intensive, and that's not the philosophy of the program. So,
right.
And what was the other question you asked? You asked what before that?
Well, I'd asked if you have a junior program.
So a little bit of the same answer. With the juniors, we've had over the years several inquiries. Why don't you get a juniors? You know what? The juniors' parents are not worth it.
Yes.
those parents are they're very demanding, and it's just a program that I've stayed haven't decided to dive into. I know here in Boston, the juniors program is across most of Metro Boston is mostly non-existent. So, but Boston's a hard place to play higher level tennis. So, it's not a program that's the amount of work to put into it. It's not worth it. But everyone out there should try, because I know there is a market. And so,
and in Philadelphia, you have but in terms of competitions and so on, do you have junior competitions but what are the competitions that you have? I know you have in terms of the Flex League, I know you have 2.5s and what else?
So like I'll look right now. In the season that's currently running right now, there's 4 levels. There's 5 levels. 3-0, 3-2-5.
Yes, 3-2-5.
3-5, 4-0, and then 4-5, which the 4-5s, a large portion of those are former college players.
Okay, all right, and that's good. And you have, so once that's the summer league that starts July 20, guys, and then you have one that comes up after that. And that, when the summer league ends?
So the summer league will end, and then the fall league will start right away. So and the idea is, some players play the summer league, some people take it off and just play the fall league. The summer league is going to end September 11th, so kind of later. And the fall league is actually going to start a week earlier, September 6th. And the reasoning behind that is you always got to think about the amount of cold weather or warm weather that's left at the end of the season. So usually in Philadelphia, you have more often not playable days in November. But as you start getting closer to Thanksgiving, it's starting to get a little bit pretty chilly. So make sure there's enough time to get the playoffs in.
And do you get any kind of support from? But before I ask you that question, do you have any players from the league or from the network that plays on the in the USTA or any other federation, US federation?
Oh yeah. You have a lot of players who that just can't play enough tennis. So they'll play 5 leagues, and this league is just one of the 5 leagues they play. So yeah, each location is different. Like I noticed in Charleston, South Carolina, Charleston has a very organized USTA program, meaning USTA definitely dominates Charleston, and then my program is a for a lot of those players, they use it as an outlet to play non USTA match, because a lot of them say their USTA matches is just too competitive and too cutthroat. So they enjoy the more laid back environment of playing in their local tennis league network league.
And what about the federation? Do you get any support from the USTA or the federation, and from the USTA, so to speak?
So none. I'm sad to report that not for the sake of trying over the last 17 years, there's been countless efforts to try to work with the USTA, and it always just falls apart. For whatever reason, they don't seem to be serious over there. And so yeah, it's they do a great job. They do a tremendous job with team tennis. They do a tremendous job with the US Open. I think they mean well with a lot of things they do. But they've also over the years, there's been a lot of sour relationships come from them. So
Yes, and wow, and I didn't really. My relationship in terms of competitive tennis started with tennis with you guys. So, and many people associate tennis with sometimes in the communities here with. If you don't play tennis, or if you have a lot of experience with tennis, or you're very green around the edges, you know about USTA, but mostly a lot of my friends know about your program, tennis Philly, and so on, both in Philadelphia area. So,
I think the biggest difference between Tennis Philly and USTA that has always been a key differentiator is that my programs, the local programs that I run, they're all super easy to join. You don't have to. You have to reach some kind of qualification. You don't have to reach out to some captain. You don't have to try to beg yourself to get onto a team. You just basically. We try to discourage beginners from joining the league, because that's not a good experience for usually both players. But it's the 17 years ago, I knew one thing, that it make the program easy to join, and so that's been something that's always stayed as a aspect of the business.
You cut out the bureaucracy.
Yes.
Cut out the bureaucracy. and that is good. That is good. A lot of people don't like bureaucracy. And in terms of your funding, how are you able to survive having this because this program is expensive, I'm quite sure. How do you get going? How do you survive?
So run this thing for 17 years, have come to a point of realizing to keep expenses in line with what the business is. And so sadly, indifferent to our government, you can't spend more than you make. That's just the facts of it,
Yes.
So since day one, this business has never ever taken a loan, and has always worked on from the revenue coming in from the players, and that's the way it's always going to be. It's just you got to make sure that you're running a healthy, viable business that can survive downturns, and it should be that.
And I just have one or two more questions. And one of the questions that I wanted to ask you is, what is the plan for tennis, for Philly, for the Tennis League Network, and for Tennis Philly, for those who are in Tennis or Boston? What's the vision? What for the next 5 or 10 years?
Well, I think the fun vision to add is and it would take some more human intervention to go ahead and do it, is to take the whole community idea to another level. And I didn't really adopt it that this year, but the game plan moving forward, and it would probably be tried out in Boston and DC first, but to really start running a bunch of different kind of classes slash group meetups slash like weekend, like a Saturday tournament where you have a bunch of people going to a certain location at a certain time and playing a certain format. So basically instead of just getting it to where 2 people are meeting up, getting it to where 20 people are meeting up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's the longer term vision, but there's a couple of things that need to happen at the home office before that can go ahead and start to implement. But to me, that's community. Like I'll go back to upon the statement again. I think our society needs a lot more community, and I think this program, if implemented, has an opportunity to do that.
You are so right. That's one of the things I love about the program. You talk about diversity, because you have people from all ethnicities, all races, all from different countries. Anybody can sign up for the program, and from people from all walks of life. And when you come on the court, you don't, all of that is through the door. It's just 2 great individuals. And are you in New York as well?
Yeah. So New York City is one of the largest operations, just mainly because of the fact that there's so many New Yorkers there who want to play tennis. So so New York is mostly broken out to Manhattan and Brooklyn and Queens. So
yes. And I also played in Brooklyn. Sorry, in Manhattan. But I wanted to find. I know they have some of the socials. They have a lot of these social, what you're referring to. I was a part of one where they met at 9 o'clock at night and went all night, and they all gathered in this Coliseum and played in different groups and had food, and it was just amazing. So I don't remember ever having it here in Philadelphia. I live in Philadelphia. Somebody invited me all the way to New York to get that done. But so I'm looking forward to that, so that hopefully you guys can start that.
We'll see if we can get it implemented, but I guess we're going to get through this year first before trying.
And who are the current leaders in the groups in the league? But who are the current leaders? Yeah.
On each of the websites, there's a POTY page, and what that page stands for is Players of the Year. Okay. And so these players are obtaining points through playing matches, wins and losses, and also getting points for referring people to the program. It looks like currently in Philadelphia, you have Benjamin Fedosky, who's clearly in first place.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah. So then the next 3 guys who are below him have obtained all those points just from match play. So, Robert's gotten 253 points from just playing singles matches and playoff matches and everything. So this Player of the Year page, usually it becomes a little competition within a competition, because, men like to compete. And so, it's cute. Sometimes how these play out. Like, I'll look at Los Angeles right now. So the number 1 player in Philadelphia has 379 points.
Oh,
now,
that's good.
Let's go to Los Angeles. And the number 1 player in Los Angeles has, actually not that much more. Only has 459 points. So that's actually very surprising that the top player is only like 80 points more. So that means Philadelphia is doing very, very well.
That's good. And what about the any other? But the others are probably way ahead. What about Boston? What's the Player of the Year points?
I love my Boston community. I've played so many of the players, and everyone is just awesome. Just such good people. The people that are troublemakers, they tend not to stick around. which which is which is great because if you can weed out the rotten apples, as I say, you're going to be left with a stronger tree. So, and actually, if I'm looking at the top 6 in in Boston, I've only played 2 of the top 6. So that's like the community is so healthy that there's a lot of players that I don't cross paths with, which is pretty impressive.
This is good. This is good. So great. So even across cities, you have you have competition, people competing, or you can compete in terms of who has the most points. Hopefully, after this show, a lot more people in Philadelphia will start playing even much more matches so that we can outdo LA and Boston.
Definitely try to play as much as possible before the dreaded winter comes again.
Yes, yes. But it was a pleasure talking with you, and you are doing such an amazing work developing tennis, and it seemed to be paying off a lot.
Thank you. It's very kind. It is a labor of love. I do love to service this product, provide this product. Have like I said, some of the players write the nicest things.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a nice program, and I very much appreciate the interview. Thank you very much. It was
definitely. By the way, the U.S. Open is coming up. Any ideas about what's going to happen for the U.S. Open?
Well, there'll be a lot of people that attend and a lot of tennis played.
Yes.
We'll see if
Djokovic.
Go ahead.
Djokovic won't be there. But
I'll reserve comment on that one.
Yes. And do you think what are your predictions? I mean, in terms of, do we have a bunch of Americans that's going to be participating in this year U.S. Open? And we didn't do too well. We didn't do too well in Wimbledon. What about for the U.S. Open?
Yeah, well, I mean, we have a couple of ladies who are always towards the top 10, and
Coco.
Yeah, and it's they're always our greatest hope to get us close to the winning the finals. Sadly, the men are nowhere to be found. But in the end, it's going to be great tennis and probably a wild time. It's not a crowd or not a scene I like to be in, but I'll watch it. So
yes, and definitely. But I'm in Philadelphia. You're in Boston. One of these days, we'll be able to play. I hope we get a chance to hit together. Let me know when you are down this side.
I don't go to Philadelphia often, but I do go to DC still often.
Okay.
And maybe one year you'll actually qualify for the national tournament and you'll join me in Miami. And
okay.
So it's at the same location as the where the Miami Open used to run. They used to run the Miami Open at the Crandon Park Tennis Center. And so my tournament is at Crandon Park Tennis Center. And it's an absolutely gorgeous location.
Where is that?
What's that?
Where is that? It's in Miami, you say?
It's in Key Biscayne, so it's basically across the bridge from mid Miami, and so this year will be the 12th annual national tournament run there, and last year
by the tennis league. All the leagues come together.
Yeah, last year we had 92 players to attend, and this year opportunities for 95 to attend, and probably will hit it. I mean, people flying from all over the country for it.
Oh wow! Okay, guys. For those of us who are hearing us, and anyone can come to the ground and watch the tournament.
Yeah, but have perspective. It's the facility is large, and us 100 players, we are dwarfed by the facility. It's cute. It's like, but we do play matches on center stage and on center court, and there'll be 20 to 25 people in the stands for a 2,000 person stand. So, but the players who play those matches will never forget that experience.
And remind us again when it's going to be this year.
Yeah, so it's always it's lately last several years. It's the first week in December. So
Okay.
this year it's going to be December 2nd to the 4th.
Okay.
That time of year, Miami's weather is beautiful. It's like
Beautiful. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yes.
past the rainy season, so typically don't have to worry about the rains. You will have humid days where people melt down, but it's not always humid. So
Yes.
you know, and the sun is still pretty direct. So us northern boys, we get affected by it a little bit more. But
Yeah.
you know, you just got to go there in shape. You just got to go there in shape. If you do that, just go in shape.
Yeah, right. You're right. And I was, of course, I'm in DC. I go to school in DC as well. Live in Philly, go to school in DC as well. You know, I'm in New York sometimes, but I'm also in Florida sometimes. So I'm
All
really,
right.
I just don't go as far. I don't go to Boston, which I guess I need to add that to my arsenal. One of my cities that I trod.
If you come to Boston, bring your rackets and we'll play.
Okay, you know what? My narrator, I told you that the narrator for my book, Neoliberalism, lives in Boston. And I'm supposed to be doing something with him soon. So I'll definitely let you know when I'm coming up to Boston.
Wonderful.
But you have any last...
Okay,
go ahead.
Just make sure you come before some, you know, early October is about the latest you can come and we can be bearable to play outside.
Oh, because it's the snow and the Boston weather.
It's not snow at that point in time. It's just you know, it's just chillier.
Yes. Okay, nice. Well, thank you so much. And you have been such a treat, a guest, a great, awesome person on the show. I reached out to you and you decided, yes, I can do this. I'm so happy. This is a great program. I like to expose the positive community stuff that's happening so that others can be aware of it and participate. So thank you so much. And hopefully I get a chance to talk with you some more soon. And one of these days I can have you back on the show. And one of the things we want to do as well, probably go maybe in December, come down in December and hopefully maybe I could come down in December and maybe do some coverage for the podcast.
I always like people to come in and you always have a bunch of people who take a bunch of videos and a bunch of pictures and capture the stories. So because there's a lot of great stories there, you know. A couple of years ago, Bob Clark came in, 65-year-old gentleman from Hampton Roads, and he made it to the finals of the 325, and you know, he's a 65-year-old and he was competing with the kids and he was beating the kids. And
wow.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of really, well, first of all, a lot of great people go to that tournament, and a lot of cool things have happened over the years.
Oh, wow. That's great. That's a good story to end with. That's a good way to end. 65-year-old Bob comes in and dominates the young people. So
actually, Bob reached out to me about a month ago and he says, hey, how do I get back to the Miami tournament? And I told him, I said, well, you got to get 25 matches in this year. So I know he's been working towards playing 25 matches. So.
All right, and that's what I need to do. Okay, I will play. I need to get on board. I need to start playing some matches then. My goal is to get there, so I plan to do so starting as soon as possible.
Get me your mailing address and a couple of the I have some spare rackets in the house that I'll send them out to you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So I appreciate you, and I hope you have and I'm going to text you my email address and so that you have it, and my home address and so on and so forth, where you can send me those rackets. Thank you so much. And for those of us who are listening to the Neoliberal Round podcast, thank you so much. And this show is going to be available via Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, the Alexa app, Anchor, and Radio Public if you're not in the US. And it's theneoliberal.com, which is my website, and RenaldoCMcKenzie.com. Remember, the Neoliberal Corporation, we are all about serving the world today to solve tomorrow's challenges. And what is communication? Communication is to make popular what was the monopoly. And that's our aim. And I hope that we have achieved that today by sharing Tennis League Tennis and this amazing gentleman with you, Steve Chagnon. Okay?
Thank you. It was a pleasure talking with you.
Yeah, man. Walk good.
Take care. God bless.
God bless you and peace.